The in-season cup is underway. Jimmy Butler might get traded. Let's get into foul trouble.
I think this might be the first time I've ever worn a button-down shirt on this podcast.
Yeah, you're looking oddly lumberjacky formal.
I went full Devin Booker with the button all the way up to the top.
I feel like the button all the way up to the tie without a tie is a little, I don't know.
It's the full Devin Booker, let me tell you.
It's very like 2014 millennial in college.
Yeah,
It's given that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's the energy I wanted to bring to the podcast today.
You're just missing your
fake glasses.
Yeah, the fake glasses. All right, well, before we get to the NBA Cup, before we get to Jimmy Butler trades, we're going to now start with best take, worst take. Every week we nominate the best and worst take from the NBA media landscape. And the worst take, we decide which is the worst of the week, which will then go on to be nominated for worst of the month. Patrick, what is your best take?
My best take is going to Lonzo Ball this week, who was talking about Big Baller Brand shoes. And he said they were like kickball shoes. I wasn't really getting hurt like that until I started wearing them, which I'm glad that Lonzo and LaMelo's relationship with their father is like solid enough at this point that they can just openly talk about how insane their childhood was and that they were forced to wear clown shoes in like the most pivotal part of their basketball development.
I want to hear someone ask LeVar about this.
There's going to be just such an incredible 30 for 30 one day about the Ball brothers. And I hope we make that. Actually, that documentary.
Okay, so originally this was going to be my best take, and I thought, I'd be pandering to you a little bit, and I'm surprised this isn't your best take. Chauncey Billups on why he only played DeAndre Ayton 2 minutes. Quote, I didn't like his spirit.
Wow, I didn't see this. This is the best take of the week.
But I have an actual best take of the week, and I don't know if I should read the actual take or the article headline. I'm going to read the headline first because the headline is so funny. This is from Yahoo Sports. Nikola Jokic suggested benching and pay cuts for Nuggets teammates after loss to Wizards.
What?
This is the quote. Nikola Jokic on what Nuggets need to see the next few games. Quote, a reaction. In my country where I'm coming from, after this kind of stretch, you're going to get a paycheck that is a little less than you're worth. So maybe that's what we need to do, a little motivation.
That is awesome. That is crazy.
But that headline is insane. Nikola Jokic just benching and pay cuts.
Yeah, ESPN is really not doing Jokic any good things in the team group chat with that with that headline. That's crazy. How does Julian Strother feel about that?
He's like, dude, I'm already on a minimum. Please, Jokic.
Yeah, it's like I was really banking on this extra NBA Cup funds, Jokic, and we're already not getting that. Please don't cut my paycheck more.
Oh yeah. So I think that's the best take. I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, hands down. That is an amazing quote from Chauncey Billups. No. That's how you know he's a Hall of Fame point guard.
Yeah, so I had a hard time finding my worst take this week, but what was yours?
My worst take of the week goes to Ime Udoka, who he was talking about how Alperen Şengün can continue to grow, and he said, my biggest thing with him, I say to him, get the European out of your game, play through stuff, stop crying. And this quote inspired me to make just a mini list of other players that can get the European out of their games. James Harden, Trae Young, Draymond Green, especially Draymond Green. Can we stop with the lazy Europeans are soft stereotype?
Yeah, I feel like between like the biggest European players like Giannis, Doncic, and Jokic, it's like that's clearly not the case.
Yeah, when I think of a basketball player that walks around with massive scars on their arms, I only think of one player. He's European, and his name is fucking Nikola Jokic.
I feel like Şengün doesn't really have a physicality problem.
No, I feel like he just like rams into people left and right even when he doesn't have
with
the
his
ball.
Balloon-sized chest.
And want to talk about like European stuff? Like what makes Alperen Şengün special? It's the passing vision. It's the willingness to rebound. Like I just think, I don't know. I hate that shit.
All right, my worst take is going to Stephen A. Smith.
Let's go.
He said, quote, LeBron doesn't deserve to play with Steph Curry. And he said the main reason why he doesn't deserve to play with Steph Curry is because he forced the Westbrook trade.
Oh my God. This is like ESPN quote bot. Please make up a fake quote by Stephen A. Smith about LeBron James. That is so crazy and weird. Like, how did they even? This was probably in the A block as well.
Yeah, I don't know. To be fair to Stephen A., I don't know the context, but I don't know. But he said it, and Shannon Sharp's face was just like, what?
Oh my God. I'm sure Shannon was about to, his head was about to burst into flames.
Yeah.
Besmirching his sweet king.
All right, who is the worst take? Max.
Okay, so we're doing
Stephen A. versus Ime Udoka.
Stephen A. versus Ime Udoka. I'm going to go with Stephen A. I think he is underrepresented in the worst take of the week game.
He is. When we started this segment, like a year and a half ago, I think we thought Stephen A. was going to be here every single week.
Yeah, him and Skip. But no, I feel like last season though, Gilbert Arenas, Gilbert Arenas or people appearing on Gilbert Arenas' show were like the worst take of the month winner, like 6 out of the 8 months.
Yeah, it was like 2008. Like you didn't expect him to be as prolific as he was.
And there's something about that set, I think, that just makes you have bad takes. I think it might rhyme with schmalcohol or something, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, their takes are just abysmal. All right, do you want to talk about last night's Cup games? Any lessons, or do you want to talk Jimmy trades? Where do you want to go first?
Let's talk about Jimmy trades first.
Okay, so Shams Charania reported that the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler are open to a trade, and that Jimmy Butler would prefer to be traded to a contender. Now, I pulled up the
surprise.
I pulled up the betting favorites. Here are the 4 favorites for the teams that Jimmy will be on come trade deadline. The Golden State Warriors are the favorite. The Miami Heat are right behind them.
How'd they get so high?
Yeah, how did the Heat do that? The Houston Rockets are third at plus 500. Warriors are plus 325. So, I mean, Warriors are kind of considerable favorites. And the Mavericks at plus 550. So basically tied with the Rockets. Those are the 4 teams.
I guess, okay, first I want to get your perspective as a Heat fan. What would you deem as Jimmy Butler's value right now? Before we even talk about the plausibility of a Jimmy Butler trade and why they would do that, like, what do you think his value is? Because he's playing pretty well this year. 19 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists on pretty good shooting, 36% from 3, 55% from the field. What is the value for a lame duck Jimmy Butler?
I feel like a young player, a future first, and the salary filler to make the trade work.
How good does that future first, like, is it okay if it's like a team with Jimmy Butler going to the playoff future first, or does it got to be way down the road?
I feel like, from the Warriors, I'll take a Warriors future first, because there is a world where the Warriors, especially if they make this Jimmy trade, where they're really good for 2 years and they're really bad for like 4 years after that.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah, I see it. The problem with the Rockets and the Mavericks is the Rockets have said, at least their GM said, he doesn't plan on making a major trade this season. Like, I think the Rockets are the team that easily could offer the best package. Like, if they did like a... But the thing I think with the Rockets is I think they know they're not Jimmy Butler away from being the favorites.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the Rockets won't make this trade. So I feel like, are we cool to just eliminate the Rockets as like a team here, or...
I don't know. Like,
okay, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, there's too many different combos for me to say, like, just flat out, it's not going to happen. Especially since Jimmy is a Texas guy. Like, I could see him kind of forcing his way over there. But, I mean, my perspective on this whole thing is I looked up the Heat's draft pick situation right now. And so their 2025 first-round pick is owned by OKC, but it's protected 1-14. And if it doesn't convey this year, then it rolls over to being unprotected next year. At this point in the season, we're about a quarter of the way through the season. I think this trade, I think you want that to convey this year, that pick to convey this year, because there's a pretty good chance if you trade Jimmy Butler or if Jimmy Butler just leaves in free agency, you're really, really bad next year.
Yeah.
And I think even if you trade Jimmy Butler right now, I don't think that they can be really bad enough to like get them in. Like you'd still have to get really, really lucky.
So you think the move is for the Heat for long-term planning, keep Jimmy, make sure you're out of the lottery so that OKC gets the draft pick. Next year you can bottom out.
Yeah, next year bottom out or sign and trade. Or the other side of that coin is you trade him, but you trade him for kind of win now, like pieces that like can actually play. So, which is like harder than a hard thing to do.
I think your path makes a lot of sense. I will say the Warriors are of these three teams, if the Rockets are going to be stingy about, giving the Heat. Because, I mean, the Heat, if they can just finesse the Rockets into like an Amen Thompson trade, like, do it.
Yeah, totally.
But I don't think they're going to be able to do that. But like with the Warriors, I know the package is kind of like Kuminga plus Melton as like the salary filler, maybe a draft pick and some other salary filler. It's not terrible, but I'm not a big Kuminga guy, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like Kuminga's very young, but he's also like 4 years into his career now. It's not like, you know what I mean? He's in that weird zone where it's like, yes, he's young, but he's been in the NBA now for a while.
I just don't think he's a smart player.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He doesn't stay engaged. He has these like great runs where he'll average like, I don't know, 25 points over like a week span, but then he'll just like completely become disengaged.
Yeah, I'm really worried about players like him and also Andrew Wiggins too. If I was another team, like if the Warriors are going to move on from Wiggins, because it just feels like a lot of times when I watch like Kuminga, it's just like he's on the wing, nobody's in the paint, he drives in, and I'm just like, all right, if you're playing in the Heat system where instead of the spacing being created because of Curry and and Hield, it's being created because of like handoff actions, like does it look as clean?
Are you saying that the gravity that Rozier and Tyler Hero create is not the same as the gravity that Steph Curry creates?
Yeah, like I feel like the Heat's gravity situation is much more scheme dependent, whereas the Warriors is much more like personnel dependent.
So if it's going to be a Warriors trade, one thing, Jimmy Butler, he makes a lot of money. He makes $48 million this year, which is tough for any team to kind of like cobble together. So I think the trade would absolutely have to involve two people, and those are Andrew Wiggins and DeAnthony Melton. DeAnthony Melton, I believe, tore his ACL, so that would be just like a complete
he's expiring
wipe away.
too.
Yeah, he's expiring, so it's not the biggest deal. So the deal that I drew up was Andrew Wiggins, DeAnthony Melton, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody for Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love. That went through all good. I feel like if you're the Heat there, you're like, I want to pick. And I feel like if you're the Warriors, you're like, I do not want to give up a pick. I'm giving up to young players that could grow into something.
Yeah, I feel like because of this weird OKC draft pick situation, the Heat are in a really good bargaining position with Jimmy where they're like, you have to blow us away.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me we've talked about the Rockets. Here's my Rockets trade that I got to work. It's Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson for Fred VanVleet, who by all intents and purposes has to be in a Jimmy Butler trade, which makes it really hard because Fred VanVleet is such an important part of this Rockets offense and kind of the only reason why it works right now. And although Jimmy Butler is a much better player, he's a completely different player.
Yeah.
And I wonder just how that shakes out if you don't have like Fred VanVleet can really, he doesn't just shoot threes. He shoots kind of like Eric Gordon threes where it's like you're standing way behind the line. But what I came up with was Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson for Fred VanVleet, Tari Eason, and Cam Whitmore. What do you think about that?
Whitmore kind of screams Kuminga to me.
Yeah, but he's cheaper.
He's cheaper. I don't know. I'm just not in love with Kuminga or Whitmore. And Eason I like a lot. I really like Tari Eason's game. But I just feel like for the Heat, if you go into next season and you got like Jaquez and Hero and Bam and Eason and Whitmore, it's like, so we're going to be competing for the play-in again, just in a different way. Like, I don't know if I like that as much, which is why I feel like this trade has to really almost be draft pick central.
Yeah. Well, but it's like impossible for it to be that way because of the sheer contract value. That you have
I
to
feel
get
like
in
it's
there.
going to have to be. It might not be one of these teams because, like, the Mavericks, like, they've got 2 massive contracts in Luka and Kyrie. They've got a mid-sized contract in Clay, and then it's all these guys making under that. And it's like, I guess the Mavericks could be like Derek Lively, but like they don't want to trade Derek Lively. And / the Heat, if anything, that's like the one young player position they don't really want that bad.
Yeah. I mean, the Mavericks make absolutely no sense to me unless you're trading Kyrie Irving, which
I don't think they should.
I guess you could do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't hate that.
I don't like that for the Heat, though.
Yeah, I don't love that for the Heat, but I guess you could flip him.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like none of these teams, to me, I think if it's going to be one of these 3 teams, Rockets, Warriors, Mavs, I think the Warriors are, as they are the favorites, they make the most sense in terms of getting salaries to work out and getting value to equate. Is there another like random team you thought of?
I've got a couple wild
throw
card
them out there.
teams.
Throw them out there.
So one that I can't believe we haven't brought up yet, which isn't even really a wild card team, your Los Angeles Lakers.
How are they going to do that?
Okay, here's how I made the numbers work without Austin Reeves. And I think that's the big caveat. And it's D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Christian Wood for Jimmy Butler and Alec Burks. So it's a 2-for-4 trade. And then the Lakers have, I think, 2 first-round picks that they can play around with. I don't know if I want to, like, they would be really putting themselves out there, trading for a lame duck Jimmy Butler and putting those picks into the ether. But if you're Rob Pelinka and you're thinking that LeBron might be at the door at the end of the season, which, I mean, he's given us no indication of doing, maybe you take the risk if you don't have to include Austin Reeves. Would you include Austin Reeves? What do you think about all that information that I just dumped on you?
The Heat are getting 2 picks?
1 or 2. What would you need to
Probably
make it happen?
1 unprotected and 1 protected.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like if the Heat are going to get future Lakers picks, like they would 100% say yes.
Yeah, that's juicy. Also, I didn't mention with the Rockets have 2 unprotected Suns picks that they can play with as well.
Yeah. I just feel like the worry, though, is the Lakers is, okay, you said Christian Wood. You said Gabe Vincent. So 2 guys we don't care about.
Yep.
But Rui they care about.
Rui.
And D'Lo, who I think they want to move on from. The problem is with the Lakers, I feel like their issue right now is like, it's like every night you've got like 6 functional NBA players, but can we get to 9? And it's like, as much as you don't like D'Lo right now, if you're the Lakers, because of just the lackadaisicalness, it's like, if you get rid of him and Rui, you are just cutting down the number of functional players.
Yeah, you're swapping 2 for 1.
Yeah, 2 for 1 is tough, even though you're going to be getting Jimmy. So I don't know. I feel like the Lakers might be the team to say no to that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think so?
Yeah, I don't love it for the Lakers.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you can do it for 1 protected first that maybe, like, really goes out into the future and you don't believe is going to turn into a first.
Now, one team
Then I'm maybe down.
One team I saw, and I just don't know how they're going to make it work if they have the future assets, because I didn't dig too deep, is if the Nuggets did some sort of like Porter and future picks.
I was looking into that. I just don't really feel like the contracts make sense. It's kind of the same thing that we were run into with the Lakers, is they just don't have very many NBA players.
But that's what I'm saying. If they can do some sort of 1-for-1, like Porter, salary filler from the bottom of the roster, and draft picks, or is that not a possible trade?
He only makes $35 million.
So we got to add 13.
They don't really have any, like, they've got Aaron Gordon. They're not trading him. I would have to double check.
Yeah, well, I'll take a quick look.
I've got 2 super wild cards.
Okay.
This first one, I think is hilarious, and it is my Kings all-in trade. Kings trade Malik Monk, who is on a new deal, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, and 2 unprotected Sacramento first-round picks for Jimmy Butler.
And we got Jimmy and DeMar.
So we got Jimmy, DeMar, De'Aaron Fox, and Domantas Sabonis, the big four, the only big four in the Pacific Division. What do you think?
I love it for the Heat.
Of course.
I love that for the Heat. I kind of hate that for the Kings, but
yeah, they're kind of trading three. Yeah, I don't know if with Keegan Murray
if we're
in
getting
there,
Keegan Murray
it's
and
like
picks, I'm just gonna say yes. Yeah.
Maybe you take back one pick, but they have the juice to make it happen.
Keegan Murray's the perfect type of player to take in for a trade because I think on a team that doesn't have that De'Aaron Fox or that star player next to Keegan Murray, I don't see him really raising your floor at all.
Yeah.
But when you finally do get the star player to play next to him, he's a huge ceiling raiser. So he's like the perfect player on a tanking team.
What does a core four do in the West? Of Jimmy Butler,
it gets
De'Aaron
Jimmy
Fox.
pissed off at DeMar DeRozan. That's what it does.
I feel like they're kind of like soul brothers, though.
Weirdly, the weird thing about Jimmy and DeMar is they have like identical box score counting stats, like for their careers. But Jimmy Butler's like advanced stats are all like sky high, and DeMar's are all horrible.
Yeah. The one thing that
they're like the angel and the devil on the shoulder.
I love the idea of like Jimmy's added passing and like scoring ability, where like the Kings are kind of one of the few teams that could take in Jimmy Butler and be like, hey, bro, we don't care if you don't want to score. Like, we've got scoring. We just need you to like run everything else and then score when in the playoffs. And I feel like he'd be down for that. But my last one, and I don't think there's any real reporting to indicate that Pat Riley hates Jimmy Butler. But if he did,
What, send him to Toronto?
Send him to Charlotte.
Oh.
Miles Bridges and Josh Green for Jimmy Butler and Hornets picks. It makes low-key a lot of sense to me.
How many Hornets picks are we getting? Like, if we're getting 2 or 3?
Like 2?
2 unprotected?
Like, 1 for sure unprotected, then 1
kind of protected.
Soft protect.
Yeah.
It really doesn't touch the Hornets like core at all.
Oh, I mean, except LaMelo Ball is gonna be sad.
LaMelo Ball might be a little sad, but
he's gonna be very
maybe
sad.
He needs to be a little sad.
He needs it.
And I feel like Jimmy would really fuck with Brandon Miller, in a good way.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're gonna be right around that bottom play-in mix. Who knows how to rise from the play-in in the East better than Jimmy Buckets? I kind of loved this one.
Yeah, I kind of like that one. All right, let me ask you, Michael Porter Jr., Zeke Naji, Dario Saric, their salaries add up to $49 million.
Wow. $49 million. But I believe the Heat cannot take
because of
more.
the apron rules.
Yeah. Take more salary.
NBA needs to get rid of these apron rules.
I know.
Like,
they suck.
Can I not pair? Like, can we not give Denver Jimmy and just make things more fun?
Can we talk about how, like, basketball became clearly the second biggest sport in America, arguably the world, during the portion of time where transactions were easy, they were flowing free, superstars were swapping teams a bunch, and now we've made it impossible to make any moves. Like, are we like missing the forest with the trees here? I don't even know what that saying is.
I think the NBA is better when players stay out of loyalty, but if movements need to happen, they can happen. I don't like this whole like, oh, if the salaries match, we're not allowed to do 3-for-1 trades. That's just, I just feel like that's a stupid rule. Like, how does that benefit anybody?
It benefits the teams that I guess draft really well, in the sense that, I don't know, it doesn't even benefit them, because if you draft too well, like we're going to see with the Oklahoma City Thunder coming up, like you're going to be deep in the second apron, paying through the nose just to keep the guys that you draft.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the NBA has never quite figured out salary rules, but it's a unique issue with basketball as a sport where like one player can just dramatically change the fortune of a team. And like, yeah, that can happen in other sports, but like
not like basketball.
Yeah, not like basketball. Like I think we've seen it. Like you can't put like even Messi. It's not like the Miami's soccer team is winning every game in the MLS. I don't even know if they made their first round playoff this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even the case with like a quarterback. Like,
yeah,
you need a lot of infrastructure around a great quarterback to really make it work. I mean, I guess you can have.
Yeah,
Peyton
maybe if
Manning,
you got Patrick Mahomes or
Patrick
Josh Allen, they'll
Mahomes.
figure it out. But that's like,
But
one
I
in a
don't
million.
even know. Like,
yeah, they're still on. Like, yeah.
What have the Bills done?
Hey, I like the Bills. All right. Okay. Yeah. But the only problem with Denver is Jokic is just so good that, no, I guess a 20-30 pick is valuable. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
are they willing to go that far out? I mean, they have
they
Jokic.
should-
They should maximize
should
this
be.
window. Yeah.
I
Like,
don't
Denver
know.
will never have a better championship chance probably in the rest of my life than they do right now.
This made me think of a talking point that I hear on a lot of podcasts that I've been meaning to ask you. Who is the first European star that asked for a trade?
Has it already happened?
I don't think so.
Oh, you mean of
No,
the
yeah,
current
of
crop.
the current crop of European stars,
I was like, I don't know. Did Pedro do it back in the 90s?
probably. Because like we're seeing all of this, like this complete clusterfuck of build with Denver. Of course, we went through the KP era in Dallas that did not go well. Victor Wembanyama, it stands to be seen what's going to happen with that. But I feel like one of these guys, it's eventually going to happen. This is like a huge Bill Simmons-ism.
I feel like, so who are the candidates? It'd be Giannis, Jokic, Doncic.
Giannis, Jokic, Doncic. I guess we can throw Shea in there. I mean, Shea.
I won't throw
is
Shea in there.
probably a cross-off.
We'll do strictly Euros.
Rudy Gobert.
Wemby.
Rudy, we got Rudy. Wemby.
I guess
Should we throw,
Rudy's
if we
in
throw
there.
people from like the African players in, we got Embiid, we got Siakam.
Yeah, I think Embiid belongs in there. Sabonis.
Okay. Damn, it's really hard to, I think I would say Luka.
Yeah, probably. I would say the Vegas betting favorite right now is probably Joel Embiid.
Oh yeah.
But,
Yeah,
like,
Embiid or Luka.
Disposition wise, I feel like Luka feels the right answer.
Something doesn't feel right about the Mavericks to me this year.
They were, I don't know. They had spots. This is the perfect segue. Wow, you're such a pro, man. So last night we are recording this on Wednesday morning in sunny Los Angeles, and last night we saw the Bucks take out the very shorthanded, non-oblique.
Well, the Magic
Orlando
are never
Magic.
shorthanded because it's like if one of their stars goes down, like just the next player up becomes a star.
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
Like, Paulo went down, Franz ascends. Franz goes down, Suggs ascends. Like next thing you know, like Suggs will go down, and like I mean, Goga Patazzi is gonna like
He's already there.
already ascended, but then he'll go like Embiid mode.
Yeah, Tristan Da Silva just like goes on a run of averaging 40 points a game. This Magic team is
good.
awesome.
Yeah. That was like I think that was my first overreaction, like the first pod since the regular season started. I was like, all right, I'm gonna replace the Pacers with the Magic in my how
Yeah.
I feel about them. Right? I was like, I've seen one game, I've seen enough.
No,
Like, they're good.
that was fair. And you know, KCP has like sucked this year.
Yeah.
And he was like supposed to be the whole reason why they took a step up.
The Magic are like that team when you're doing an NBA 2K rebuild and you're like going in the offseason. It's like, here's how your players progressed. And it's just green arrows up and down the whole roster.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, like, even though he wasn't amazing last night, I feel like they got another one in Tristan Da Silva. Wendell Carter is playing to a level that I think any team would be very happy to have him. Goga's great. Jalen's great. Cole Anthony's back in the rotation and throwing up bricks, but he's great for vibes.
But yeah, I mean, the big difference in this game, I mean, Giannis is just incredible. 37 points, 7 boards. Yeah, I mean, Giannis, I know he got dunked on, but then he came right back and dunked right back on Goga Patazzi.
Oh, yeah, that was absolutely brutal.
Lillard was pretty good in the clutch. I mean, I feel like when, they've got Lillard going, they've got Giannis going, the Bucks are kind of decent.
The Bucks got that thing about him again.
Yeah.
I'm kind of back in.
But you know what, Patrick? Last year, I feel like me and you waxed and waned on the Bucks, and then we settled on like the Bucks are good, and then obviously Giannis got hurt. But I don't know. We were a little high. I think maybe me and you were a little too high on them.
We
at
were.
times. Yeah.
But you know what? will always be okay with being a little too high on a Giannis team.
That's a good point.
The thing that I like about the Bucks that it makes me think about real prime like contender Bucks is I feel like they're bouncy again. Like I feel like there was a real lack of athleticism last year post Dame trade. They were depending a lot on Pat Connaughton, and they weren't really playing with any of the young guys. But like Andre Jackson Jr. just like pops off the screen to me that like having him running the lane next to Giannis, it's just like it's a whole nother load that you have to deal with this Bucks team that I don't know. It makes them they're starting to I always say I think great teams take on the form of their best player, and they're starting to look like a Giannis team again.
Yeah.
And I think last year they looked a little bit more like a Dame team. And I think that's for the best. And I'm very excited to see them in their next game because it seemed like they really wanted this
cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and Middleton's coming back. I mean, he only took 2 shots last night, played 20 minutes, came off the bench, but like they're starting to round back into form. Let's see how the health is. I mean, obviously Dame, not always, but has recently in the last few years become a health issue. Middleton has kind of definitely been a health issue. So, and Giannis has missed the last 2 playoffs.
Yeah. He is 100% a health issue at this point, especially with his style of play.
Yeah.
Like how can he not be? But the headlining matchup of last night was the rematch, the playoff rematch between the Mavericks and the Thunder. And
what a dud of a rematch it was.
Yeah, I mean, or just like a alpha move by the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It is a close game in the first half, and then in the third quarter, and it was kind of weird because the Thunder got like a ton of good looks from 3 in the first half, and then the whole broadcast was like, "Oh my God, the Thunder are shooting way too many threes," and I was like, "Look, even as cranky old man who doesn't love a million threes, like they didn't really take any bad threes."
Yeah,
like, and then they interviewed Dagnall, and he's like, I thought we got like pretty much like exclusively open shots. It's like, yeah, what? I feel like the best shot is the open shot. If it's from 2, if it's from 3, whatever. But I don't know. That was a weird quirk with the broadcast. But I don't know. I feel like the Mavs, something doesn't look right about their whole team. Like they had a stretch where I felt like it was like the Thunder kept doubling Luka like right at the top. Mm-hmm. And so Luka kept like feathering in these like passes, and the Mavericks are kind of like, like pacing with the Thunder, like, 3 to 5 points behind. They're hitting an open 3. The Thunder hitting open 3. And then like Luka took like a step back 3, even though they could get an open 3 whenever they wanted. And it kind of just seemed like from that point forward, it was like, okay, now all of a sudden, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like I think he's getting bored of getting double teamed every play.
One thing Luka is just like I don't think the Mavericks can win a series where they dare the rest of the team to beat them. I don't think the Mavericks are at that level, but the Mavericks are always going to be looking pretty shitty when Luka's shooting 1 for 12.
Yeah, and he's 2 points in the first half. But I guess the thing with the Mavericks, and they did have this in OKC last year, is like I think they can beat teams where they dare the other guys to beat them, with the caveat that the way they're daring them to do it is by doubling Luka at the top and just letting them shoot wide open shots. Because that's what happened last year in the playoffs. Like PJ Washington, not a great shooter, but he is wide open.
Yeah, but it's just like it's such high variance.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Like Najee Marshall is not going to score 14 points in the first half.
And hit these like super contested floaters.
Games. Yeah,
I think that's the
he
thing
was
with the
really
Mavs.
feeling himself at the end of that half.
The Mavs can't beat any team when the other team is going to let them play that way, but they could still lose to any team playing that way. And I think teams are just happy to let Mavs play the variance game. I will say one thing that is big difference between this year's Thunder and last year's Thunder is like all those like amazing Luka passes where he like jumps up over the double and throws like a perfect like entry pass to like Lively down low. Like that works cool last year, but when Hartenstein's down there, it like doesn't work anymore.
Dude, this Thunder defense, I'm sorry. Remember we had a conversation last year when like the Celtics had been doing their thing for a while and their net rating was just like absolutely unbelievable. And we had a conversation of like, do we need to just stop pretending like this isn't like a all-time historic thing? And I'm getting close to there with this Thunder team because you can't pass the ball against this team. Like Cason Wallace, I think, has taken a little step up. Obviously, Alex Caruso is there now. I think Jalen Williams has taken a little bit of a step up. And it hasn't really, I think, shown out full bore on the offensive end. But the defensive end, without a guy that we were talking last year as one of the best rim protectors in the entire league in Chet Holmgren, like, it's just like you can't get into your offense, let alone get to the rim at all, pass the ball at all. Like, I don't know. I think they're closer to the Celtics than I think the greater NBA watching world is maybe ready to admit.
Yeah, I think we both picked them as our Western favorite coming into the year. I feel even more strongly about that. Even though I didn't really like the Mavs coming into this year that much, but still, I don't know. Just the way, I agree, like the way that they can kind of like switch and still defend down low, and then when they don't have to switch and Hartenstein is already down low, like they're just so dangerous. And Shea, just the scoring is so effortless. Like 39 last night, and
yeah, you didn't even notice.
You didn't even notice. Yeah, like I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we don't give Shea his flowers as much as we should, but he's amazing.
And this was all without having the card of like, hey, we're going to drag Lively out to the 3-point line with Chet every single play. Like, that's a huge problem, especially with like real traditional fives that the Mavericks have. I like the Mavs. Like, I think I still do think they're probably the second best team in the West, or who I would gamble as like the second best odds
as the
to
other
make the
conference finals.
Just because all these other teams are so flawed. Like we were talking beforehand, like I think the Suns have shown a really high ceiling, but they are 1-9 without KD, who can't stay on the floor. I mean, the Rockets have been a really, really fun story, but I think their offense doesn't work. I mean, the Warriors started off really hot, and their offense doesn't work at all. The Grizzlies,
17-8.
I really struggled to believe in their offense or their health for a full season. Like, that's a team that has been good for close to 5 years now, and we have never seen them stay healthy.
Yeah, no, I think the Thunder are like clear favorites in this conference, the same way I feel like the Celtics are clear favorites in the East. I feel like we're headed straight toward Celtics Thunder.
Yeah. I will say, I think the East was getting so much flack early off in the season. The East is looking like it has some dogs in it.
Yeah.
Like, the Cavs have obviously been incredible this season. They still have the 1 seed.
Yeah, I will say, though, the Cavs are 6-4 in their last 10.
That's true. But I think if healthy, they're not going to be an easy out. I think, like, no team is feeling good about playing the Cavs in the playoffs except for maybe the Celtics.
Yeah.
But the Magic have impressed, even though they've been so banged up. The Knicks have looked incredible offensively, and you got to think that they can figure it out. That was another Jimmy Butler team that I looked into, but I just couldn't find.
The tip.
Can you imagine? But then the Bucks that we just talked about. That's 5 teams that I think are solid contenders that I think could, if any of those 4 teams that I just mentioned, other than Celtics, were in the Western Conference, I think they would maybe be the number 2 team.
Oh, yeah. The East is pretty good. And, I mean, I will say, Philly.
10-15.
I got them as 7-15.
Oh, wait, 7-15. I looked at the Pistons.
Yeah, I don't think Philly's going to get to the top 6, but I think they can get one of the top 2 seeds in the play-in.
Yeah, I think so, too. I don't know. It's not far. If they got
they're really not that far back from the Hawks.
They're only 6 games back of the Bucks right now.
The problem with the Sixers, though, is like they beat the Bulls and Embiid came back and he scored 30, but he took like 28 shots to get there. So I'm like, that's where I'm like, if you score 30, but it's taking you over 22 shots, like I'm scared.
And they got the stink.
Yeah.
There's just
dude, if you guys ever want to have a laugh, go to Paul George's podcast and read the YouTube comments. They are so funny. I'm reading this one. It's about, I forgot who the guest was, but they're talking about Chris Paul And the guest is just like, Chris Paul's the best. I loved him as a teammate. And Paul George is like, yeah, me and Chris aren't cool anymore, but we used to be friends. I'm like, well, are you going to elaborate? And the comments are like, oh, it's my boy, part-time P, back at it. I'm like, oh, God damn.
Hey, he's just salty that the Suns kicked them out of the playoffs 2 of their 4 times.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up and get to shooting slump hot streak?
Who do you guys think is going to win the play-in tournament?
Yeah. You want to put some predictions on the board?
I got the Thunder.
You got the Thunder. I've got the Bucks.
Okay.
That
Bucks Thunder
I
final
will
would be
say
fun.
that's my dream final for this tournament, because I think the one way that you can combat what the Thunder do defensively, and I don't know if it stays on the table once Chet comes back, but it's you get them into foul trouble and you ram the ball down their throat. And there's one man, the run and dunk man.
The run and dunk man who can do that.
Who can do that.
Yeah, I think the thing though, like last year, a big recipe for the Mavs beating them wasn't just that, but it was also just having the perimeter guy who can play to Shea's level or outplay Shea. And you can do that with Luka. I don't know if you can do that with Dame at this point. But you know what? 1 game sample size.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I guess I just wanted to highlight it real quick. Thunder Celtics play for the first time on January 5th.
Let's go.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, that will be a good one.
All right.
One of these days we got to do like a live watch along.
The live watch along. Maybe that's the game we do it. Let's see. What that game is Sunday. Oh, that's gonna be conference finals for football. What NBA? What are we doing?
James is booked out. Yeah, that's crazy.
Why would we book? Why would we schedule this?
Or no,
game then?
conference finals should be next week, the weekend after, I think,
Yeah, that's true.
because it's usually my birthday weekend.
I feel like everything's getting moved around for some reason. The wild card is January 11th, so it's the last regular season. Okay.
Okay, there
Maybe
we
we'll
go.
do a watch along.
Yeah,
We'll
we
do a
don't,
watch
we don't
along.
have to pay attention to that week at all.
Unless there's clinch. I don't know.
I don't know. Giants might be on the bubble for the number 1 overall
I'm
pick.
hoping, man. I'm hoping.
Who,
All right.
who would you go with?
I don't watch enough college, so tentatively, it's kind of tough because I feel like all of the NFL draft people I follow and all the people who watch college football are telling me totally different things about every player.
Yeah. What archetype do you want?
I want like a playmaking passer.
Okay.
So I think Shedeur or Cam Ward. I don't know. I was doing some research. Every website says they're both, quote, mobile pocket passers.
Yeah.
Which sounds
Yeah,
good to me.
Shedeur is like, from what I've watched a couple Colorado games over the last 2 years, and he is like more of a stand in the pocket guy than
Yeah.
I think people want to paint him as
Well, it's the
something
same with
else
Geno
for
Smith.
some
Like, you'd be
random
watching
reason.
a Geno Smith game like when he first came to the NFL, and they'd be like, Geno Smith, he can run. It's like, Geno Smith doesn't run.
Yeah. No,
This is some weird racial stereotype.
He is just black and
He
a
likes to
quarterback.
pass from the pocket. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Hot streak shooting slump.
I feel like I'm on a hot streak right now. I am in the thick of just Christmas party. My fiance has 4 Christmas parties to go to this week. She went to her sister's work Christmas party with her. She's coming to my work Christmas party with me. She has a work Christmas party during the day at her own job. And then we have one random one with friends that we have scheduled.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. I feel like people are really
Into Christmas.
into Christmas this year. Christmas is back.
It took a break the last few years.
It took a break the last few years. People weren't taking it seriously, but it's here. Mariah Carey is here, and we are in full bore. All go.
Nice. I'll say I'm on a streak. I've had,
Let's
just
go.
a good chill weekend. I went on a nice trail. I feel like I was talking to my friend. It's like going to the trails, going to the movies. Like I feel like they're two things that I'm like, I don't want to do that. But every time I'm in the middle of doing it, I'm like, I should do this more. I
Yeah.
love doing this.
Hiking is back. Going to the movies is back.
But yeah, I've got holiday parties. I got one tonight that we're
Nice.
both going to.
Yes, we are both going to that.
And then I have one next week for my girlfriend's work, which is going to be significantly more formal. Very different.
What industry does she work in?
Law.
Nice. I don't know.
I'll make sure I don't commit any crimes.
I've went to like some like kind of like really buttoned up Christmas parties in the past, and I feel like those people kind of let their freak flags fly.
Yeah, I feel like you saw that a lot in like 2000s movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the 2000s rom-coms where the guy embarrasses himself at the girl's like holiday bash.
I have been watching a lot of Netflix Christmas like rom-coms recently, and that is definitely a staple, is the work Christmas party, where it's often the first scene where they're like engaged or something and they have to split because she caught him making out with his assistant or something.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
I will keep an eye out for that. But no, things are good. I'm excited to be on break. You know, we got 2 more weeks of work and then a little break, and I'm pretty excited about the rest of the month.
We got a triple streak on our hands.
Let's
boys.
go. It's like Santa flying through the air. Christmas is back.
It's the holiday season. I'm having a great time. Like you said, the Partiful invites are just coming in like just left and right. I got a holiday party tonight. I went to one on Monday. One of my friends works at DreamWorks, and so they had their holiday party at Universal Studios.
Very cool.
And
did Shrek appear?
Shrek was there.
Nice.
The Grinch was there. Ever heard of him?
Oh my gosh.
And basically they closed down the entire park for DreamWorks employees.
Wow.
And so all of the food was free. There were open free bars everywhere. The rides had like no lines to go on them.
Did you abuse any?
Did you get some alcoholic butterbeer?
I did.
Oh, nice.
It was really funny because we went to like the Harry Potter bar that's like the restaurant. And we were like, can we get like a spiked butterbeer? And the guy was like, we don't do that at this bar. And I was like, can I have a butterbeer and a shot of whiskey on the side, please? He's just like, okay, fine.
The ultimate hack.
But yeah, that was sick. That's like the only way I ever want to go to Universal again, is just like everything is comped and you can just run around. Like
I went to Universal last Christmas season for Grinchmas, and it was a good time. I like the added holiday element. I feel gives Universal Studios what it's missing.
I agree with you, actually, because they had the whole like Grinch setup, and it really added a lot to like Universal, which is, I don't know, kind of a lame theme park
it's
at this
like
point.
The problem with Universal, I feel like, is if you don't like roller coasters, it's like if you've seen Waterworld and you don't like roller coasters, you run out of stuff. Like that's my situation. Like I have a phobia of roller coasters, and I've seen Waterworld, which is awesome.
Yeah,
but you don't get to see it. You know, it loses the luster the second
you can
time.
only see it once
I will say
for the first time.
I did see Waterworld for the second time
It's
on
good,
Monday,
though.
and I was like really bored. And then halfway through, when like pyrotechnics start going off, I was like, okay, that's right. This is sick.
Yeah, I know. It's a really cool live show.
I got to be honest. I've only went once, and I did not go to Waterworld,
Bro,
so
you
I
gotta
have
check
something to look forward to.
Oh yeah, that's honestly probably the highlight of the park.
Honestly, it might be.
Yeah, I like the Harry Potter.
Harry Potter's cool.
The Harry Potter world is cool.
Yeah.
Like I like getting the butterbeer and all,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's a little underwhelming, and you can tell that the rides were made like 20 years ago, and they have not been updated.
Yeah, did you try the Mario one?
Oh, we couldn't go to Mario.
I went
I
to
will say,
that.
the Mario's pretty cool.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. The line is long.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to figure out the line.
Yeah, the Bowser line for that ride, that was like half of our experience was waiting in that line.
Sick.
But it is very detailed. That's my thing for any like amusement park. And it's why I love Disneyland so much.
Yeah.
Is Disney is just so detailed wherever you go that like even if you're waiting in line, you feel like
Right.
you're standing in a movie.
Right.
And at some places in Universal, I feel like it's not the case. I think the added Christmas elements, I think, helped that a lot, especially in the Harry Potter world. Was Fast and Furious Land created yet?
I saw the construction site
okay,
for the
they're still
Fast and
working
Furious
on it.
ride.
The
it doesn't come
Familia
out.
is still.
I will say though, for Universal, the Super Mario, the Nintendo World part of it, like when you enter that area, it legitimately feels like you're in the video game.
It's
like
magical.
everything
Yeah,
looks like
cool.
you're in the video game.
Yeah.
Got me thinking. I feel like these video game publishers should get together and just make a video game theme park.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like that's the problem. Like Jurassic World, love that ride. That's actually what I'll do. You're still like it looks and feels like the theme park, but when you go to the Nintendo World, you know what I mean. It literally feels like you're in a different.
You just totally step into
a different
Yeah, it's very
world.
immersive.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
isn't there like an Xbox world?
Yeah, I feel like Sony, Microsoft, and
or like a what is it? Rockstar? The one that has...
You want to just live in GTA?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want
GTA
that.
World, you got Red Dead World. That would be awesome.
I know you're not a gamer, but you're a gamer from time to time.
I'm a mild.
Did you play Overwatch?
I didn't really play Overwatch. No.
Never?
Not really. Like a couple times.
One of the Overwatch maps is based in if Blizzard had a theme park.
Sounds sick.
And it's sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this should
down.
be a real fucking place.
Yeah, do these game developers, like, do they have enough, like, different, like,
IPs?
IP?
That's
to,
why
like,
I'm saying
for sure.
I
make
feel like it would have
4
to
or
be
5
like
lands?
I think it would have to be like a PlayStation land or an Xbox land. Because I think if you just did like Ubisoft land, like you just would run out of like IP.
Well, Microsoft just pretty much bought like all of the big publishers. Like they bought Bethesda, who makes Skyrim and Fallout. They just bought
Yeah, Skyrim
Activision,
would
who
be
makes
cool.
Call
Fallout
of
would be
Duty,
cool.
Warcraft. They make all that. And so I feel like if Sony and Microsoft just did a little, come together.
Maybe the problem is that like all these games involve just like shooting people.
That's true. A lot
That's
of
what I was going to say. Like, a COD land would be scary.
I think that's what I was missing at the Universal, the Nintendo World. I was like, I wish it was like more than just Mario. Like, can I also get the Super Smash Bros?
Yeah, that would be very cool. You just want a World of Warcraft.
I do,
land,
I
though.
do. But I do want, like, that's the only problem though, is like once I did the Mario Kart ride, I was like, there's not much else to do.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there's
Unless you want to
not.
buy some like weird looking food that costs like $25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
Which,
this
by the
big.
way, I got a wicked corn dog at
Oh,
Universal, and it was
What was
Was it
wicked
wicked?
about
It had
it?
some weird
Was it
green.
pink and green?
It was green.
It had some green aioli just like slathered on top. It looked really unappealing.
Ew. Was it good though?
No.
That's the other problem.
It's the only thing Alphabet eats.
They need to revamp the Simpsons area too.
Dude, this is what I'm
I
saying.
think they're taking it away.
They
they are.
They're getting rid
To
of
be
the
fair, I feel like the
Simpsons.
Simpsons is not resonating with like the
No.
younger kids. Like they don't care about the Simpsons.
I did
No.
have that thought when they had the Simpsons Monday Night Football. I would
Yeah.
like I've never been a Simpsons watcher really, and I was thinking like, who is a Simpsons watcher?
Like I like the Simpsons too. Like I would say I'm a Simpsons fan. But if I was presented with Family Guy or the Simpsons, I'd probably rather watch Family Guy.
Even doing a Family Guy land at this point,
Yeah,
is
it's
just
too late. It's
outdated.
too late. It's
Yeah.
too late.
We
It's
gotta-
20 years ago was the time.
a
Yeah.
Family Guy land.
Bro, there's a Simpsons land and a Waterworld exhibit, like a Waterworld interactive experience. It's like Waterworld is a movie that nobody even knows has ever seen or knows what it is, and then Simpsons like hasn't been relevant in like
Years.
15
Yeah, wait,
years.
what is Universal's big things nowadays? It's just Jurassic, which is now already kind of dated.
the Mario is the newest like
But
thing.
that's not even theirs. They licensed that from Nintendo.
Yeah, well, I don't know what their plan is.
Okay.
I mean, they get
Now I'm
the other thing is
interested.
that the Fast and Furious ride is going to be open in like 2026, and at that
Oh
point,
yeah, Fast and Furious.
it's
is a
like-
big one.
it'll have been like 3 years since the last Fast and Furious movie came out, unless there's like spin-offs coming out that I don't know about. I don't know what they're doing over there at Universal Studios.
They got to get it together.
They gotta get it together.
Universal Pictures franchises. Oh, this is way too large of a list. I don't. Well, I mean, one big thing that they have is like their Universal monsters. So
Oh.
it's like Dracula and Frankenstein.
Even
and
those are so
all
boomer.
those.
Yeah, but
I
they're
feel like
classic.
it's
Yeah,
like
they're like
golden
generic.
age. It's
Yeah.
not even boomer.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like all of even Disney though, like I feel like Disney put themselves in a weird spot because they were so successful with Marvel, but they like totally just kind of fucked up the Star Wars license.
Yeah. You want Ted Land? Halloween Land?
That sounds pretty good.
Halloween
Listening.
Land would be kind of cool. That's kind of the only time anyone that lives in LA
Goes to Universal.
Universal is
Yeah.
for whatever
Horror
it's called.
Nights.
Horror Nights.
Bring it on land. We just have cheerleaders everywhere.
You should get in that room, in that boardroom, and start pitching these ideas.
We should take over Universal Studios.
I am an idea guy, if anything.
Yeah.
I am an idea
Can't
guy.
say anything about the quality of the
50
ideas.
Shades Land.
Okay, now we're talking. The merch possibilities.
We need an 18 and up Universal Studios.
No, if I was a developer with unlimited money, I'm not gonna lie. Especially, I was walking through the Grove yesterday, and I was like, "Why is there not a Grove where like every shop is a bar or like a late night food restaurant?"
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds
I
kind of
see
like
it.
Bourbon Street or something.
Yeah, but for LA,
And you can open container between bars and stuff.
How to Train Your Dragon Land.
Wow. We're really scraping the bottom of the barrel over here.
Although a dragon ride, if they could figure that out, would be cool.
Kind of sick.
They're making.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the preview for the live action How to Train Your Dragon?
No.
I think it's actually going to change the game.
Wait, all right, I have to bring this up before we wrap today's pod. You know how we did the animated movies draft over the summer?
How could I forget? Yeah.
And I got slaughtered in it? So I saw the poster for Mufasa. Is that the...
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a Lion King too.
Well,
There is.
there is.
There is.
But I don't think Mufasa is Lion King. I think it's a new, never been told before story.
You know, I haven't been paying close enough attention to the Mufasa lore, but I don't know if it's a remake of Lion King 2 or what, honestly.
But I'm really glad you brought up Mufasa because it goes into my How to Train Your Dragon live action
Thank God.
point of the reason why How to Train Your Dragon live action is going to change the game is because they made Toothless look exactly like Toothless in the animated movie. But he's like just in real life with this kid that also looks just like the kid in the movie.
Yeah.
And in fucking Mufasa, they're making these live action, completely real warthogs and lions, and it's terrifying and weird and unsettling. And take note, Disney.
All right.
Because Universal, How to Train Your Dragon Land.
You know, it's been a little unsettling to me after I've seen Gladiator 2. There's a scene where they try to fight baboons.
Yeah, that was
terrifying.
Yeah, I honestly thought they were pretty scary and realistic looking. And a lot of people I talked to were like, those baboons look like trash.
I was scarred by
What you know what like a baboon looks like?
as a child.
You were scarred by baboons?
As a child, yeah.
They're scary. Like primates are scary animals, which is weird because they're
too smart.
Yeah. Aren't humans kind of scary animals too?
Yeah, we're the scariest, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my brother were at the Phoenix Zoo and we were looking at the baboons, and there was a baboon sitting there, and then he turned and screamed in my face, and that's my baboon story. It was terrifying. It scarred me forever.
Did you have nightmares about baboons for a while?
I don't
blame you.
really fuck with monkeys.
Okay.
No, me neither. I don't like monkeys either.
And I think if you own a monkey, you're fucked up.
That is weird.
Like
That's
that
weird
is
behavior.
a line I would never even think to cross. It's just terrible.
Well, you're gonna eventually have to confront this when Jesser does like a video involving.
I trained
A
50
trained
monkeys
monkey.
to play basketball at a 1v1 tournament.
That's true. That's got to be coming. Literally yesterday,
Oh,
someone
dude,
came down the
Chimps-
stairs.
Chimps first gorillas. Who is the best basketball player?
No, someone came down the stairs literally yesterday and said, "Hey, what do you think of my idea? Jesser 1v1's a bear."
A gorilla.
Wow, this is that is like the origin story of like a terrible gone wrong like
This is
documentary.
Mr. Beast. Literally.
It's like what was the
Tiger King.
What was the Peel? Movie?
What the heck? Nope.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope vibes.
You see Nope?
I have not seen Nope. Should I see it?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
What is it on?
I don't know.
I don't know. I
But
saw it in theaters.
there's a monkey element to that movie that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
Oi.
Yeah.
And
All right.
with that,
I have one more weird anecdote from the week.
please,
Actually,
please.
it's actually from last week, but I need to. I couldn't believe it. So I'm at the Grove, and I noticed that the bar is outside the ticketing area, and I'm like, "Oh, that's weird. What if I want to get a drink during the movie?" So I go to the guy to get my like little cocktail for Gladiator, and I'm like, okay, like, he's like, "Do you have your ticket?" And I'm like, "Do I need a ticket to get a drink?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Do you have a lot of people who tried to come to the AMC bar just for only the bar?" And he was like, "You'd be surprised. Like a lot of people do." And I was like, okay, one, like, why are people going to the AMC theaters bar if they're not going to see a movie?
They just need the Wicked themed cocktail.
That's very degenerate. But two, like, why are you not serving them if they want that?
I have a bigger problem with them not serving.
Yeah.
Because imagine like you're out on the prowl. You're trying to meet some people. You're trying to meet a woman. Where better to go to spawn a movie date other than the AMC bar? And I'm not gonna buy a ticket until I've got a date. The AMC should make that a thing.
Yeah. Also,
It's like, hey, 6 o'clock, or no, happy hour is for singles. Come on down. All of our movies will start at 7.
Oh my God.
So you can find somebody to watch the movie
so
with.
you have exactly 1 hour to develop chemistry with a stranger and then go see a movie with them.
Exactly. Universal, I'm open to be your ideas guy. AMC, I am open to be your ideas guy.
Yeah, I feel like we've shown off for the movie execs. We're ready. All right, I think on that note, we'll end Foul Trouble, a basketball podcast. We'll see you next week. Peace.